downfall of Splitgate 2 is something that needs to be studied and should be a warning to everyone in the gaming industry. The vast majority of gamers do not like microtransactions, and yet they're still around because enough people buy into them to make them viable for most developers. Note, however, that I said most developers. On top of the fact that the original Splitgate was an original old school arena shooter a la Quake, the second game was closer to a hero shooter like Overwatch or Apex Legends, and then the CEO waddles out on stage like a month before the game's full launch and wearing a Make FPS Great Again hat, proudly announces that they're going to be adding a Battle Royale mode for some reason, only for the game to then be bogged down with microtransaction controversy. The absolute gall. Over the weeks and months that followed, however, the gaming community, and more so specifically the Splitgate community, let them know exactly how they felt. From negative reviews to controversies over their $80 skins, culminating in the developers putting out an official Discord statement saying that they're going to be rebuilding most of the game, effectively pulling it back into beta development after such a poorly received launch. For context, while not on the same scope in terms of its raw player numbers, this is probably an even worse live service launch than Fallout 76, because whereas Bethesda had the clout to be able to just put out more content to quell controversy, 1047 Games is having to go back and completely rethink major parts of their game's core features. The point of all of this, though, is that it proves two things. One, you can only get away with these sorts of lazy, greedy business practices if you're a franchise or a studio that has the weight or the popularity to withstand blowback. And two, it mask off reveals just how the average gamer feels about these practices when nostalgia and the general popularity of an IP are not equations. Counter to what the CEO of Ubisoft said, microtransactions do not make the player experience more fun. And Splitgate 2 is proof of that. 3 years ago, Take-Two Studios was sued due to their controversial use of microtransactions to turn their NBA 2K basketball game into a basketball RPG that more or less railroads you into spending money to advance. Back in 2020, EA was sued in Canada on the grounds that their loot box system was more or less just digital gambling outright. The sad thing is that we see these features in modern gaming despite their incredibly negative perception, with initiatives like the Stop Killing Games movement attempting, among other things, to help create a pathway for gamers to hold a larger sway over the sort of corpo money-grabbing tactics that they can push back against. Perhaps that means in the near future that these features will be a thing of the past, because video games are supposed to be about fun, not squeezing money out of its player base. 1047 Games forgot this with Splitgate 2, and all I can say is that I hope that they learned from their mistakes, because we've seen what happens to smaller studios that put profit over players. Like and follow for more, and check out follow Rotoshi on all other socials.